largest economies. Let's bring in adjunct fellow and China expert at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, Craig Singleton. Craig, thanks so much for joining us. The Trump administration and President Trump himself have basically been saying for a year, if not more, if you sign up to use TikTok, you are essentially handing all of your private information over to the Chinese Communist Party, and they are going to use it against you eventually. Is that fair?
I think it's a fair statement. For months now, we've been hearing rumors that the administration was going to shut down TikTok. And they even went so far as to prevent certain U.S. government officials from having TikTok on their phones. We've even seen mirroring restrictions with the Biden campaign saying that you cannot have TikTok on your phone. And the reason is because apps like TikTok and other Chinese telecommunication company tools operate like a digital Trojan horse, where they have a backdoor that allows Beijing to access all of your sensitive data and all of your information. Now remember, TikTok is not going to go down without a fight. And in this case, the company has hired a whole team of lobbyists here who I'm sure are working all weekend long, calling in favors. And a lot of these lobbyists happen to be former U.S. government officials. I think one of the key Achilles heels here is that we need to really close that lobbying loophole. Former U.S. government officials should not be able to go get employment with Chinese firms, and particularly firms that have a national security threat risk. Yeah. If there's any silver lining here.
Well, but Craig, why do you think, I mean, President Trump has been threatening to take action against TikTok. Now he's threatening to ban it, blanket ban here in the United States. Why hasn't he just done it already? If the company poses such a dire threat to U.S. national security, get him out.
We're sort of in uncharted territory here, and we really find ourselves at a critical juncture in U.S.-China relations. These recent events mark a significant escalation in a broad conflict that includes everything from trade and technology to human rights, freedom of speech, the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the search for a vaccine. And at the end of the day, there's just strong bipartisan support in D.C. to say that China is a malign competitor. And we need to develop new strategic tools and platforms to kind of take on that threat. And this is sort of a test case to see how can we really challenge China in the tech space.
You say that the U.S.-China relationship is at an inflection point, but a lot of experts I've spoken to would categorize that as way over the top optimistic in light of the relationship has gone south in recent months due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Trump administration says China mishandled the outbreak. Now threats to close even more consulates, more diplomatic outposts after 2 have already been shuttered because of increased spying. Clearly something in there gives you a little hope if you say we're at an inflection point. What is it?
Well, I think we're just waking up and recognizing the scope of the threat. So many of these challenges started long before President Trump was in office, but over time, and particularly in response to China's mishandling of the COVID incident, we've really started to take a close look as a country to say, what is China doing here? What's the extent of their malign influence? And I think we're only started to scratch the surface there. We've already seen broad indications that China is developing inappropriate, illegal relationships with businesses, think tanks, academics, local, state, and federal officials, all to protect China's image and to promote a narrative of China that is really benign. And so now I think the key next steps are kind of taking all the force of the U.S. government behind it in partnership with the private sector and really challenging China on numerous fronts.
All right. Well, Craig, we got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us with your expertise this weekend.
Thanks, Jillian.